Well, 8 years after his stunning upset of Hillary Clinton, 4 years after Joe Biden evicted him from the White House, the former president is about to return to power on the back of a victory that swept across the key early voting battleground states and improved on his electoral margins in much of America. He claimed what he called an unprecedented and powerful mandate to govern. Gary O'Donoghue looks now at how this extraordinary political comeback has come about.
4 years ago, Donald Trump left the White House without even attending Joe Biden's inauguration, his attempt to overturn the election having failed. But now he's back, making history as only the second president to win 2 non-consecutive terms in office. It was more than 9 years ago when Donald Trump entered the political fray, upending the Republican Party and winning its nomination for the 2016 presidential election, with, to many, shocking rhetoric that would become his trademark.
They're bringing crime, they're rapists.
But to the surprise of many, perhaps even the candidate himself, Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton and at his inauguration continued with the same dark tone.
This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
At home and abroad, his presidency was a controversial one. He battled with the courts over a Muslim travel ban, over separating migrants from their children at the border, and was investigated by a special counsel over Russian influence, something he called a witch hunt and a hoax. He also became only the 3rd president in history to be impeached over accusations of holding up military aid to Ukraine for his own political ends, though the Senate did not convict him. A booming economy was brought to a sudden standstill when the coronavirus pandemic hit in his final year in office. Vaccines were produced in record time, but still more than 1 million Americans died of COVID-19. Donald Trump himself was struck down by the virus, but recovered, returning to the White House and to fight for his re-election. But he refused to accept defeat, erroneously claiming that the election had been stolen.
And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
His supporters stormed the Capitol. The violence shocked America and the world. After the January the 6th riots, he became the only US president to have been impeached twice. Out of office, he survived scandals that would have ended most political careers. He faced multiple court cases, both criminal and civil, and was convicted of covering up hush money payments to a porn star. Running again, he steamrolled his Republican opponents
the total initiative
and mocked Joe Biden during their debate over the president's performance.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
In July, Donald Trump came within inches of losing his life. A would-be assassin's bullet just grazed his ear, leading to a triumphant moment for the 45th president. Days later, he formally accepted the Republican nomination to take on Joe Biden, though before the week was out, President Biden had stood aside in favor of his vice president. Immediately, the personal attacks began, directed at her intelligence and her race.
I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black.
Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump are just moments.
A debate did little to shift the momentum either way, and the two remained neck and neck in the polls right up to Election Day.
We will achieve.
Donald Trump has vowed to begin the biggest ever deportation of migrants in history. He's also promised to end the wars in Ukraine and the Middle East. He hasn't said how he will do either of these things. He's also said he'll take revenge on his political opponents. America and the world is in for some uncertain times. Gary O'Donoghue, BBC News, Washington.